when you came the second time out of the nursing home, what happened?
The second time I ended up getting lucky. I had a girlfriend who had a trailer that was somewhat modified. She had a handicap ramp for me to get in and out of it. It was an open floor plan, but I still couldn't get through the doorways. We had to take the doors off and I couldn't get into the bathroom. But what choice did I have? Stay in the nursing home or make it work? So I was kind of forced to modify my life and adapt my routine because of the house. You know, basically I was renting, so I didn't have this, you know, the tools to modify or the means to modify, and wouldn't have anyway, being that it's somebody else's property. So that was my first step. I ended up losing that to Hurricane Irma, and I was homeless or without a home with living in a hotel, and that was just as difficult. I stayed in a hotel for 5 weeks looking for a new place. Staying in a hotel, the same kind of concept. The bathroom, they only had one room that was handicapped accessible, but you couldn't move around in the room. I mean, I couldn't turn around. I had to back up into spaces, and it's really difficult to navigate. Not just that, but like the beds are higher. You can't get under the desks. So even though they say it's handicapped accessible, nothing's there except a bigger doorway. So, you know, then through trial and error and down the road, things started to open up. I ended up finding like an assisted living home that had been modified for disabled. And that had a ramp to get into the front, an open concept with wider doorways, and also it had a modified bathroom. So the shower I could just roll right into. And that was really my first step of having something user-friendly. So it was easier for me to be independent, to get around. The only thing that was still not user-friendly was the kitchen. I had difficulty getting in and out of the refrigerator because you'd have to back up and open the door and then go forward and around it. And there was a cabinet right in the way, so if I was trying to get something out of the refrigerator, I couldn't back up to open the door. So it was a real challenge just having placement of things. Then I realized down the road, you know, all these things that I had to modify for myself. Ended up buying my place, and the thing I really looked for was just openness and a clean slate, because I figured, you know, things aren't going to be automatically modified and user-friendly unless I make it that way. And most of the places that I would go to try to look at, I couldn't even get in the door.
Well, that leads me to something that I've come to experience now with many people that have situations, especially in chairs, but even seniors with mobility issues and veterans with mobility issues. They're trying to find accessible homes, barrier-free homes, which was what you needed and need to be able to move about freely. And invariably, I'd say 99.9% of the people that look for places can't find them. They don't exist.
They don't.
And so many of the places I go into need retrofitting. So as you came to get into your new home, what did you find that you needed to do? And was this part of the transformation? How did you address all this stuff?
There were several things. One, I kind of learned the hard way through my living, you know, without having a home that was user-friendly. One thing is that they tend to put microwaves above the stove. So for somebody in a wheelchair, that's a major hazard. For me, I don't want to take a risk of spilling something on myself and getting second or third degree burns. So I'm just pretty cautious. The main things that I focus on are the things that I'm going to get hurt. I was using a temporary ramp, a portable ramp, to try to get in and out of my house. So we had to modify and put a safe ramp because I did have an accident tipping out of my wheelchair. I broke my clavicle and my leg. Long story. I'm better now.
You've had a lot of fun, haven't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been fun.
Yeah, it sounds it.
Trying to get through doors, you'll notice the doors that I try to go through, it's just very hard to navigate sometimes through the doorways because they're all so narrow. And depending on the size of the wheelchair too, a lot of the wheelchairs are based on, average people, and the doorways don't consider average wheelchairs coming through them.
As a builder and contractor, that was one of my first experiences, because I really knew nothing about your plight 3-4 years ago, is when I got into this business.